good afternoon. You're probably listening to this in the morning and afternoon or whatever. I'm hopeful you can hear the water dripping in the background. And I'm in one of St. Pete's premier gardens. And if I say that, I shouldn't even have to say that I'm in South St. Pete, but I am in South St. Pete. Um, I'm at the home of preservation of history for African Americans. Um, but I'm in a place called the Legacy Garden, where some of you may have gotten married or had your birthday celebration, but for sure, hopefully, have attended something. Maybe the mayor's, winning night for the election. It was like quite something to see. But I'm sitting here with the person who has stewarded this organization for beyond a number of years, for all the years I can remember. And I thought it was important that as the Woodson Museum of Florida begins its journey, it's on the way to actually creating the first African American museum in Florida, that we sit down with Terri and find, or Terri Lipsy Scott, or Miss Terri Lipsy Scott, or Southern Belle. But that's just me. Let's find out. I happen to know she's from Savannah, Georgia, but she is the most lady-like lady that I know. Me, I'm in some sneakers, some black pants, some black socks, a t-shirt. I don't even like t-shirts, but lately I wear them a lot. She, of course, is in her beautiful pink top. But let me just tell you, it don't matter. She has on some tan pants. Of course, she has on pearls. So you get where I'm going with this. And she has on her pink shoes. Her nail polish is done. We won't talk about my nails. So Terri, if I ask you to introduce yourself the way, and it's so funny, I kept thinking like, who? And I'm going to say Gladys Knight. The way Gladys Knight would introduce you. Like, what would you want people to know about who is Terri Lipsy Scott?
Hi, Carla, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity to share some time with you. We're both so busy, we rarely have an opportunity to do so. But whether it's Gladys Knight or Michelle Obama, I would hope that the way in which I present myself remains consistent. One who certainly stands in a space of integrity, one who believes in social justice, one who preserve, present, interpret, and celebrate African American history in a way that elevates those who are among us today. So often we view history as something past, but there's so much history to celebrate in the now. So I'm hopeful that I would be viewed as someone who's caring and loving and compassionate, and one who seeks to elevate others.
Is this where you thought you would be, in St. Petersburg, Florida, in 2023 at the Woodson?
Absolutely
I know you retired several years ago, and here you are, carrying the torch.
I am. In fact, I relocated to St. Petersburg from Savannah in 1981.
You beat me here.
And I committed to my husband 5 years in the city. And after 5 years, I was looking forward to make my way back to Savannah. Needless to say, here I am. Still, and yet, loving a place that I am excited to have been a part of the transformation that's occurred in the city. As a retired city administrator at the city of St. Petersburg, I've seen so much over the years, and we have progressed as a city proper, but there is so much yet we need to do to advance as people of color and gaining the respect we so rightly deserve for the contributions by those who made them through the community.
So I feel like you've made it a priority to celebrate for sure those of us who are here and contributing. I know I felt special to be honored as a First Lady in African American History by the Woodson Museum. And you'll hear people say this all the time, and it's always more special for me when I'm acknowledged by my own people for things that I do that comes natural to me to do. So why is that important to you? Because I don't know how many women have been acknowledged to this point, and now it sounds like you've also incorporated some men, right? So why is that important for you?
Paula, it means everything to me
Mm-hmm.
for us to be seen.
Mm,
Too often, we're not recognized, acknowledged, or appreciated for the contributions that we make um, in every walk of life.
mm,
And I'm just excited to be able to see those of you who
mm,
have made extraordinary contributions in our community and to clap loud and
mm,
for others to know and to see and appreciate those contributions that you've made. We all stand on the shoulders of others who
mm-hmm.
come before us. But needless to say, you are living the legends in my mind where young people can actually see, feel, and touch
Mm-hmm.
the experiences that you created. You are, though, I mean, so often, even as a little girl, those images before me were martyrs. There were people who died for the cause,
Yes.
and they're to be celebrated and recognized for sure. But there are individuals like yourself and so
Mm-hmm.
many others that we've acknowledged and recognized here in our community who deserve to be celebrated
Right.
and denounced.
Yeah, so often, and I talk about this as it relates to artists, we're always waiting until after. It's why there's this sign that's so many places: collect work from living artists
Yes.
when they can actually benefit
Yes.
from it. So
Yes.
make it your business to buy an original piece of art from an artist. There's a reason they call it struggling artist. Struggling. It's not easy to commit to being a full-time artist. And here you have the opportunity to showcase art um, from so many artists. And at any given point within the Woodson, you're going to see artists being featured, artists opening, and of course, I was just talking about the was it books and books and brunch event, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, somebody's like, oh, that's new. I was like, mm-mm, they've been doing this for years. This is not something new, because when there are people in our community, close or afar, that because actually my thinking is that Tumble Books was launched right here at Woodson. Um, so, this idea of pairing books and learning and reading together is just been one that you've supported and fostered throughout. So now you're having this upcoming event with Sandra Brahm,
Well,
her new
in
book.
fact, it'll be the fourth Saturday of every month. It'll
Okay.
be a series.
Okay.
And it's books, bubbles, and brunch.
Yes.
So with that, get ready to put that pinky finger up and just sip some
Yep.
mimosas and sit with the actual authors of
Author.
these books.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to meet the author, to
Hmm.
be inspired by the vision for having written the book.
Yeah.
Too often we find ourselves reading a book
Right.
and we can only assume what the author may have been
Yep.
thinking. But this creates an opportunity for us to get an up close and personal account of what the author, in fact, is thinking.
Yeah. And
and creating
authors are artists.
Most
And so
definitely.
this ability to write in a way that causes to hold your interest throughout a book um, is it's artistry. And so we are so focused on our two-dimensional art pieces that we miss the performing arts. We miss the writers, the poets,
The literary
there's so
artists.
there's so many
Absolutely.
throughout our community. So thank you for that, and so everybody should know if you want to plug in, just plug into that the fourth Saturday of every month. There'll be a brunch, Carla Bristol's at the farm every fourth Saturday.
Well, there may be that window of opportunity that Carla can sneak away and come partake.
Let me build to that point. Let me build to that point. It's
Well,
like
there's so much
it's like
to do in this community, and
yes.
the fact that there's so many offerings for folks to undertake, because what you're doing is so extremely important, and it's just so meaningful, not only to those who you're nurturing in that space, but those who are watching from afar, who can respect how valuable your contributions are to the community. And I can't say thank you enough.
Thank you.
So meaningful. But Carla, everywhere you are, I mean, it just always, we can always anticipate there being good. And we so miss you in this community.
I feel like
miss you being our neighbor.
I'm always here. I tell people I'm just a phone call away. The things that, I get called for cracks me up 99% of the times. I'm like the non-African American woman that gets called every day about something relating to African Americans. And I'm like, there's so many amazing, incredible African Americans right here in the community. So my role is to redirect and connect as often as I can, which leads me to this idea of, we know my memory isn't the best. We know I have a selective memory, because it's interesting. I thought we first connected one way and you have a different memory. So tell us your memory of how we first connected, which had me cracking up.
Well, in fact, I placed my house on the market. And you
just so we're clear, the very home she still lives in today. Go ahead. She was teasing.
Presented yourself as a prospective buyer of my home. But as I've sat and given it some more thought, I'm almost of the opinion that we met at a garden party at Moselle Davis's. It was a Lynx affair.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
On that day.
That's right. That's how I met Elizabeth.
Absolutely.
That's how I met one of my community bonus daughters.
So, with that, those are times, but there have always been these start and stops with you, Carla, because you've been all over the place.
That's right.
So those two come to mind.
Are right. And you know what came to mind for me? I thought that when I officially plugged in was a couple of years maybe after the effort to build out the garden. So I thought, like, I plugged in through Dwight Wilson, because you were part of the leadership class that he was a part of, and he asked about funding bricks.
Okay.
And I was like, what? Okay, sure.
Absolutely.
And then that's why I said
St. class of 2008.
Is that what it was? Okay.
It's always a project behind every leadership class. And we had to come up with ideas. And I was able to sell the class on the idea of taking on this project, because I sold it from the perspective of not just doing a project, but leaving a legacy.
Were you even the executive director at that?
I had no involvement with the museum at that time, other than visiting and feeling very much of wanting to do something to help elevate in this space.
And let me tell you, if you've never, ever been in this space, I could tell you what an incredible asset it is to our community. So you must come visit at some point. We're sitting in this legacy garden near this really incredible fountain that's probably 6 or 7 feet tall, and this water, like, first of all, crystal clear water that I probably could drink. Terri would crack up if I did it, but I could.
I wouldn't encourage you to do that. It is pretty pristine.
So you have been feverishly on one of the. Let me say this. One of the things that, if people don't know, they should know about you is that you dream big. I mean, that's just the lens you look through, and you're not somebody that anyone should ever count out. If you are saying something is going to happen, it's happening, and you can typically see the end long before most of us. So
Mhm.
the latest initiative that you are wrapped up in is this idea that we need to have a substantial museum to showcase the collection of the Woodson. Let's start there because we know over the years the Woodson has acquired or emerged quite a collection, but to also be able to have that museum space to show, to bring very large scale exhibits that you've been limited to doing in the current space. So tell us about that and where you are to that effort, and when do you envision it happen? When and where? Let's talk about that. Go ahead.
Well, Carla, you're right. I believe in a community where we have countless amazing museums,
Mhm.
that we're preserving our African American history in what was formerly a public housing community center.
Mm.
And it limits our ability to bring in world class exhibits
Yes.
and artifacts in the space because indeed it was not designed or created for the purpose of being a museum proper,
Mm.
if you will. When we look at the extraordinary African American collections that are being brought to the city of St. Petersburg, we don't have this space as a destination to receive it, even though it has African American content and it exemplifies the extraordinary work and collection and history that we, in fact, preserve, present, and interpret. Unfortunately, because of humidity, because of lighting, because of doors, we're not, and security,
Yeah.
we're not properly equipped to bring those items into our space.
Right.
We're excited about the opportunity that presents itself for us to become Florida's first purpose-built African American museum, to be clear. There are numerous African American museums throughout the state of Florida,
Yeah.
but there's not one purpose-built African American museum.
Right.
And to think a state of this size,
Yeah.
and
Give me the likes of which so someone could visualize the magnitude of what we're talking about. What would it be most similar to in terms of scale that we have in our city or beyond?
the Gant, well, locally,
Okay, I know the Gant
right,
Museum in Charlotte.
in Charlotte, but
Mhm.
locally, I would think of something on par with the Museum of History with regard
Okay.
to size. I was recently appointed to the Black Museum Task Force, one of 9 members recently. And with that, the task force
The
has been
task force of where?
Florida.
Of Florida.
Florida Black. They're recently enacted by our local Senate and Congress here in the state of Florida, Black Museum Task Force. And I'm one of 9 who've been selected to participate on that task force to determine where Florida's African American Museum should be. The recommendation that comes out of that committee lends to the where, the when, what's expected to be of that museum.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just pretty fascinating that we can be a part of the discussion.
Okay. So have we taken a sidestep for a moment, or are we still full throttle forward?
Full throttle. This task force is, in fact, something that has come about as a result of an elected wanting there to be a task force to determine what will be Florida's African American Museum, or who will be Florida's African. But that puts absolutely no suppression on the idea of what we're looking to create here in the city of St. Petersburg. Right. The Rays submitted a proposal along with several other developers, and they won the proposal selected by the city, and within that proposal was inclusive of the Woodson.
Yes.
And it prominently positions the Woodson along a major thoroughfare on First Ave and 16th. It would be a part of the baseball experience. The Rays have asked for a gallery within the museum to depict Negro League baseball. They've pledged $10 million on the offset. and a commitment to helping, consistently and continuously raising funds. So we have the support of the race, we have the support of the city. We're in conversations with the county, and we will be in conversation with the Pinellas County Legislative Delegation and so many others to help us propel in this offering during the discussions around.
And it's my understanding that the Ray Times group said they will not have a ribbon cutting unless the Woodson Museum is opened at that time as well. Like they really wanted to be on par with their opening to see this come to fruition. But when you think about it, when might we, if on the crystal ball, when might we see this happen?
The race timeline is 2028.
Okay.
That's the race timeline.
Yes.
When developers came and positioned themselves before the Woodson to be considered as a part of their proposal, one of the top 3 things that I requested and for consideration was that we be a part of their phase 1.
Yep.
Okay. And that being said, when you begin shoveling dirt for a stadium, you're shoveling dirt also for an African American museum. And so it is my hope that in line with what you stated, that indeed we'll be right in the lineup of cutting ribbons and opening doors together.
In the meantime, and in between time, what is the ask from the public? We know that sure they're the large donor, but what is the ask? When we look around the Legacy Gardens and we think about how this came to be, of course there were large funders, but then there were smaller funders, but we did it together. So how can people be a part of this historic happening in Florida and specifically in our city? Maybe now I'll refer to it as my beloved St. Petersburg, but St. Petersburg.
Well, there's no gift too small.
Mm-hmm.
There's no contribution too small or too great. This project will be an opportunity for all of us to be a part of a legacy where whether it's a financial contribution or whether you are combing your family's home and pulling out photographs or artifacts or other memorabilia from times here in St. Petersburg or anywhere within the state of Florida. When we consider the opportunities that are there for all of us to embrace what it is we're hopeful to achieve in this community as an African American museum for the entire state of Florida, there's so much everyone can do to be a part of this legacy.
I don't know, you know how my brain works. Were your children born here in Florida?
My children are in fact natives of St. Petersburg.
See, that's what I said. I said, look, I wasn't born here. Look, I wasn't raised here. But I'll be danged if my children weren't born right at Bayfront.
Absolutely. Right, so we've got a stake in this community for more reasons than one.
You best believe it. Because when I'm talking to my kids about, oh, you sure you don't want to live in New York? They are Floridians. They live here in St. Petersburg, and they love it. So aside from the future of the Woodson taking heading on the path to the world-class African Museum right here in St. Petersburg, Florida. What's next? What's happening? What should people know about? What have you been busy? Because people call me a busy bee or the busy bunny, but you stay. You see. Look, if Terri had her way, we'd be sitting in the kitchen because she was also doing 3 other things. Wow. So you guys see the public facing, but I don't think people see the, I don't know how much she's doing now, but the scrubbing, the stuff got to get done. And this one thing is going to get done. So Terri and a group of dedicated board members. You know, some boards it's about how much money you can give. This is legit how much involvement, time, and when there's an event, you got to be here when the lights come on and when the lights go out, and after that, because they keep the space for school, what should we be looking for over the next 2 years, aside from the vision of moving while we're still here? And what will become of this?
Well, Carla, I was doing an end of the year report recently
Hmm.
and came to realize in the past 12 months we hosted over 66 events
Wow.
here at the Woodson.
Wow.
Only a handful of them were recurring events.
Oh, wow.
Most of them were different in some form
wow.
or fashion. And we're excited to play that role in our community, embracing the elements that are so often unseen, unheard, and unknown. This is St. Petersburg's African American Museum,
Mm.
and we want to make certain that everyone knows that the opportunity that presents itself in this space lends to elevating the Black culture.
Mm.
So we can't be more proud or more excited or more enthused about the level of programming that we host here, whether it's our monthly book club with Can We Talk, or it's the opportunities that we present for children during the holidays where we are raising awareness about the space and the need for the children within the community, the first ladies or legends who have never been recognized or celebrated in any way. The list just goes on
The
and
African
on.
schools.
Yes, in fact, this summer we're
Yeah.
hosting 2 sessions of the Freedom School.
Yeah.
Asala's hosting one, Woodson's hosting the other.
Mm.
And what we have come to love and appreciate are partnerships.
Yeah.
Folks who are knocking on our doors wanting to partner, where it doesn't have to be the initial idea of the Woodson,
Right.
but we're there to lend our support to ensure that you know and understand that if it advances the Black community and Black causes and Black culture, we're here for it, because indeed that's our mission.
What are they setting up here? There's an event setting up as we speak.
Exactly. And aside from being a history museum, this place is also a revenue generator for the Woodson. This weekend, there's a graduation celebration of a young African American female who grew up in this community, who just graduated from dental school.
Oh, wow.
And so she and her family are making ready for just an extraordinary celebration here in the Legacy Garden.
Oh, wow. Look, I'm not invited, but let me tell you, just by the onset, the beginnings of what I see happening, I could tell you it's going to be quite the affair. There's everything from what appears to be an events planner to logistics folks, but everything looks incredibly pristine for this particular event. But there's so many others just like it that happens here every single on a monthly basis. So if you hadn't considered it, it's a place to consider partnering with for your special occasion. So like I never would have thought. I thought they were about to do a wedding or something. I thought it was a family reunion or a 75th birthday celebration or something. And in fact, it's being able to celebrate the accomplishment of their young
scholar
who's going
now
into right. We need more. We need more of them because so many of ours are retiring, and
Truly.
this is so important to continue that. And then tell us about the Woodson Warrior, because that is now going on, and so many young people are impacted by that.
Just you speaking of the Woodson Warrior gives me chills, and I become extremely emotional. This is a program that is really near and dear to my heart. It came about as a result of a loss. I lost my mother in 2017, and a very dear friend approached me about wanting to do something to honor my mother's legacy. And in doing so, she offered to establish a scholarship fund in my mother's name. And I was very humbled by the offering. However, I shared with her that my mother's name would not resonate in this community. No one would know for she was.
Mhm.
But if she would counter that offer with the naming of Woodson Warrior Scholar, she said, honey, whatever you want to name it.
Wow.
So my dear friend Jane Bunker took this project on, and we just thought, maybe it'll be a year that we'll make available some scholarships.
Right.
And the first year came, and we fell in love with the scholars.
Mm.
We absolutely, because if you hear most often, scholars receive a 1-year scholarship.
Yeah.
It's a one and done.
Yeah.
Well, we fell in love with these scholars and decided, why don't we just staff them through their 4 years of college?
Mm.
For which we've been able to do in the first graduating class was this year.
Oh, wow.
And it was just so meaningful and impactful. And every year we add 10 new scholars.
Oh, wow.
This past year, we had so many scholars with GPAs that exceeded 4.0
Wow.
that it was difficult to select 10.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of our funders reached out and asked, well, Terri, how are things going? I said, this is just truly difficult. I said, to select 10 children, I said, we're turning away kids with 3.7 GPAs,
Wow.
3.8 GPAs. And they said, well, instead of doing 10, let's do 20.
Wow.
I'll up my giving.
Oh, wow.
I'll give an additional $50,000 a year for the next
Wow.
years.
Oh, wow.
So with that, it just took us over the moon.
So do you find that
gratitude.
the kids who are selected, in addition to having a responsibility to family, like this is the other part of their family that they are feeling that they want to make proud because of getting this support and investment?
The Woodson Warrior Scholars recognize that they're a part of a family. It's a broader opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you. A broader opportunity to be celebrated. Needless to say, it's nothing like being celebrated by mom and dad and grandma and aunt and uncle. But when you realize that you have the support of an entire community behind you, individuals who are investing in your future, who are saying to you, we're with you, we're behind you, we believe in you. And the number of scholars who've fallen short from time to time, and who are just so humble and often embarrassed that they had met that goal. And we're there to encourage them to say, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay. And sure enough, that next semester, they're back on top of their game. For whatever reason. I mean, our young people are going through so much.
That is the reality.
I mean, it's just really, really difficult for them to thrive often in some of the environments for which they're in. And there's a cost of living in and of itself. But when I tell you the joy it is in hearing that they're still celebrated and not feeling defeated because it wasn't there this semester. You've got an opportunity to get it right. Come on, we can do this.
Wow.
We can do this. So it's one of the most meaningful things that happen in this space, aside from preserving. But we're celebrating. And we're educating. It's still around the African American.
Like there's so many prongs, if you will, that is the Woodson. And I think most people wouldn't know all that you do and all that you have done. And I would say only a few is why this conversation is so important. I also want to talk about, we cannot help but see the backdrop of the senior village for Jordan Park behind us, a reality today. We know that I have sat in countless housing authority meetings, and so to see the building erect and the pickleball court. All of us will be playing pickleball sooner or later, so y'all better get on the wagon. But the pickleball court and all of it, and you and I talked the other day, and you said, I said, hey, how many of the seniors are actually interested in moving back? I know many of them got to move downtown, can be into 30 stores, etc. And what did you say to me? Can you share that?
Many of them that want to return had the first right of refusal. They were offered the opportunity to return to the space. In fact, shortly after our conversation the other day, I called a housing authority to get that exact number, and that hasn't been provided to me just yet. But the beauty is, no one who left the senior village of Jordan Park, they were all afforded the opportunity
to return. And at what rate? Is it the rent is still what it was before? Is
Absolutely.
it so? Wow.
Absolutely.
So often in our community, we're always talking or grieving promises broken, and so to hear about a promise kept, and I know firsthand how tirelessly you have worked and dragged the rest of us along with you.
I was about to say, truly you were the wind beneath my wings, okay?
Dragged us along.
Truly.
That's why I had to move back to South St. Pete. I said, what am I doing up here? I'm doing everything down in South St. Pete. But to see this a reality and to know that the promise was kept is everything, because more often than not, I remember kids saying to me, they're paying attention. They're seeing what's happening all around us, and they're curious. How could that happen so quickly and things we're waiting for take so long? So whenever this is, because those would be the grandchildren and great-grandchildren of the people moving back into the senior village. And we all know I'm looking to move into a retirement village. I turned 55 this year. I better watch out, somebody. I'm coming somewhere. I'm coming somewhere.
Oh,
so where is Terri Lipsy Scott 10 years from now? Where are you?
More than likely sitting at a lake with a fishing pole with my husband in Georgia, closest to his love for fishing and hunting.
Terri,
so,
Terri, in what world are you holding a fishing pole? Terri, stop. After the fish is filleted and cooked, you are sitting there with your glass of wine or champagne and setting the
glass
table
of wine
just
and champagne with a fishing pole in hand.
Setting that table just so, with no detail missed.
Well, that's what happens after we catch the fish. But I'm just so blessed to be in a position to celebrate the goodness of God. And I have to be just quite honest with you. This has been quite the faith walk for me. My belief has certainly led me down paths that I really never thought that I would rebound from. But obedience comes with rewards. I had lost friendships and relationships have been severed. As a result of my belief in what was right and wanting to ensure that what our seniors in particularly needed, they were deserving of, and that we as a people ensured that they received those things. You won't find me fighting often, but if you want to fight with me, mistreat children and mistreat seniors. You will find me at the front of that fight
for those two things.
Okay? So, all of you in between, you're on your own. But children and seniors, be assured that I'm not going to ever back down or step away from trying to ensure that the needs are met.
And the thing is I do believe whether we are the ones that pick up the helm, we have a responsibility to leverage the social capital we have, to leverage the access we do have, which has been gained over years of connecting and making all these connections within our community to help those who simply are not or feel defeated, have hit that wall and keep hitting the wall. So I am grateful that you continue to be you. There's only one you. There is only one you. There is only one you.
I want to say I am so grateful that in every walk, every path, every journey that I've taken, that I have been able to look up and see you. I mean, it means more than I can ever communicate in a way that you will ever understand. Because when you're in the throes of things that are happening, it's a lonely journey sometimes. But there's some individuals that you know who shares your heart and your passion for people.
Yeah.
That when you don't see them, you're concerned. But for the consistency that you have lent to everything that we do in this space, I'm grateful.
Thank you. Thank you for the connection. Look what is in my bag, and it's hilarious. I was like, why do you have, remember the old school game night?
A Rubik's Cube,
Yes.
okay,
I'm
that
like,
I've
the
never
old
been able to
school-
put together.
Neither have I, but I'm like, this is that mindless stuff that you could do now, to declutter and to take a moment, to slow down, which is, I think, the advice I guarantee you both of our families are giving us all the time.
Oh,
Slow down, slow down, take time for yourself, balance. I had more balance in corporate America than I have since I've been out of it.
Exactly.
So, first of all, let me thank you for even coming outside.
This
ain't your thing.
It truly,
But I could not have this interview in the garden. It had to be in the Legacy Gardens. So thank you. And we hope that during this conversation that you have a few bits and bites to chew on until next time, and that you're inspired in some way to continue on your path, whatever your journey is. Embrace it, even if others don't. I think that's what I heard. Like, you know, in your heart, in your spirit, what you're supposed to be doing. And, this week, I think it was, I, for my own self, said, man, when you think about a life well lived, I feel comfortable that I personally am living a life well lived.
Amen.
And I think we could say the same for Terri, because Lord knows we could be other places doing other things. But this, meaning this community, is a shared passion for us.
A purpose-driven life.
A purpose-driven life. What a concept. And guess what? Once you discover what that is, if you run from it, that's on you. But you will not rest until you embrace the path that's set for you. It's not set for anybody else. So even if they attempt it, I mean, I just sit back and laugh because it's not for you. And what is for me, there is no one that has the power or even the slightest ability to take from me. What is for me is for me. And what is for you is for you. Be blessed. Have the best day ever.